Being able to mitigate damage and heal your party in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius is one of the most important roles in the game. With the plethora of healers currently available, a lot of you have been asking, which one is the best? Who is the best healer? Today we're going to be going over the definitive best healer in the game. Who are they? So let's talk about these three characters. Folka, Myra, and Lenneth are the definitive top 3. But out of those three, who should you be using? Out of these three, the first one we're going to be talking about is CG Folka. None other than the first healer to make a substantial change in the healer role. What originally separated her was her ability to prevent attack, defense, magic, spirit break, stop, charm immunity, as well as all the status ailments in the game, and provide a substantial limit burst eating MP regenerating skill in the form of Teardrop, which would suck up a few of her limit burst crystals in order to recover 180 MP to your entire party. She was the original super OP healer MP battery. And how does she fare nowadays? Well, with her new awakening skills, not only does her attack, defense, magic, and spirit break resistance skills, flowing waters and sobering waters, have their original effect, but now they also have either a spammable HP barrier of 2000 with flowing waters +2, but also another HP and MP regeneration over time with sobering waters. She also has the ability to do a temporary general, physical, and magical damage mitigation skill for a single turn. Now, while she cannot be the sole source of this in your party due to the fact that she does not have a 100% uptime on any of these skills, they are still relevant in emergency situations when you can go ahead and need a 40% general mitigation, 30% magic mitigation, or 30% physical mitigation. Now, she has fallen off in this situation here due to the fact that a lot of the time when you're looking for these mitigations, they're so important. You want to have access to them 100% of the time, and there are characters that we have access to now that can do that, that these specific skills have fallen a little bit to the wayside compared to when she originally debuted. For this reason, she is definitely an incredibly powerful healer, but is not going to be the best one in the game. She can get the job done, do it all, but number one means number one. Now, the number one slot is going to be a battle between Myra with her global exclusive rework and redesign, giving her an incredible powerful kit compared to what she was before, as well as Warrior of Light Lenneth. Now let's go in here, let's talk about Warrior of Light Lenneth and what she does offer. We all know how strong she is. She offers an incredible throughput in healing with her triple cast white magic as well as her dual castable skills. Now let's go over and talk about the one thing that sets her apart from a lot of the other healers, especially in this top 3. She does have access to these unique skills that have a delayed healing cast. So she's got skills like Heavenly Healing Waters that do a auto cast at the start of your next turn. This will allow you to preemptively wait for some giant damage to come up for the next turn. If you ever see this coming, you can go ahead and cast one of these skills and then heal yourself at the start of your next turn, and then during that turn carry off with whatever it is that you need to do. She also, like Folka, has attack, defense, magic, and spirit break, stop, and charm resist with Mystic Telicular Waters that also gives you 60 MP at the start of your next turn to all allies. While not the most outrageous MP regeneration, it is nothing like the 180 MP that Folka can do, and Folka can dual cast that for up to 360 to your whole party, and pales in comparison there. She can auto cast this skill in preparation for some MP that needs to be recovered the next turn. She also has the ability to increase your resistance to all status ailments by 100% for 5 turns to all allies as well. So the main thing that made Folka the go-to character back in the day, Myra already has access to that, and she also will get auto-cast MP and HP on the following turns to help keep that tempo going up with surviving, keeping re-raises up if that is something that you need to do. In addition to that, she does have some other things as well. She can not only prevent these statuses from landing on your party, but she can remove them with skills like Purifying Waters, which is also a 100% HP recovery, which could help you heal a very geared tank. In addition to that, she has a lot of skills that offer full uptime on 30% general damage mitigation. So if 30% general damage mitigation is your go-to, she has access to that as well. She also has Entrust, which is an incredibly powerful skill that you can build teams around. Being able to fill up someone's limit burst, a key pivotal point in some team comps that a lot of players out there do use, is incredibly backbreaking. Being able to have Lenneth fill someone else's limit burst gauge for that incredible potent skill that the other character may have is an incredible opportunity for you to build in a team comp directly around one character, and she does offer that for you as well. The other thing that Lenneth does have here is triple cast white magic. Triple cast white magic allows you, obviously, to go ahead and triple cast white magic. This allows you to cast Re-Raise, Kiraja, Full Life, Dispelga, Asunaga, as well as Libra if you want to add some monsters into your spell book. A lot of the main uses you'll get out of this is maybe dual casting 2 Re-Raises and a Kiraja. If you're new to the game, you don't have a lot of spirit gear yet, you can cast 2 Kirajas and then a Re-Raise. You can also fit a Dispelga in there as well as a Kiraja and a Re-Raise for certain bosses that need to be dispelled of their positive status buff. So this allows you a lot of flexibility. The most often sort of player that'll benefit from triple cast white magic the most is a newer player who has access to the triple cast white magic from Warrior of Light Lenneth, and they don't have a lot of spirit to fully heal up their team yet. This allows you to go ahead and cast 2 Kirajas, get that insane healing throughput, and then as well keep up a Re-Raise or raise someone with Full Life or Dispelga or Asunaga, and that's really gonna be what separates her from a lot of the other characters. Her limit burst here, as well as Prayer of Reincarnation, which does put an auto revive 100% HP for 4 turns to your entire party, as well as carrying attack, defense, magic, and spirit break, and recovers 79% HP to your entire party. It is a low cost of 27 limit burst crystals, which means you can get this off relatively easily, and it also means that her limit burst not only fills up to use her limit burst quickly, but also fills up so you can entrust it to someone else. Now, speaking of entrust, she does have one other skill that we need to talk about here, which is Generosity. It's a 10-turn cooldown available on turn 1. She needs her limit burst to be full to use this, and what this does do is it increases the limit burst gauge of all allies by 30 crystals to everyone in the party except for herself. There are some pluses to this, there are some minuses to this. Unlike normal entrust, which is percentage based, if you have 100% of your limit burst gauge and someone else has 0%, they will go from 0 to full. It doesn't matter if their limit burst costs 5 crystals, doesn't matter if their limit burst costs 5,000 crystals. And because Myra and Lenneth both have cheaper casting limit burst than some of the other characters that we've seen down the road, such as Regina, you can fill 27 limit burst crystals, use the normal entrust, and give someone 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 limit burst crystals in equivalence because it is percentage based. Genuine Generosity is everyone in your party, but it is not percentage based. If they need 60 limit burst crystals to use the limit burst, you're only going to get 30 of that no matter what, and you're using your entire limit burst gauge to do so. Now, it does have its pluses, it has its minuses. If you have a bunch of people in your party that have very cheap limit burst, this will fill your entire party's limit bursts up to maximum right away. If your entire party has very expensive limit bursts, this won't fill it all the way up from 0. You're going to need to find some other way to increase that LB gauge right away. So Lenneth does very, very, very powerful things, and she also has some awakening skills, more magic damage mitigation here with Waltz of the Tycoon for 3 turns here. It's a 9-turn cooldown, no 100% uptime, so just like Folka, can't really keep that up full time. She also does have access to temporary, very powerful magic and spirit buffs of 200%, as well as having very possible 120% minimum spirit buff on herself in case your team does get dispelled. So that's going to be Lenneth. She's going to be, this is Warrior of Light Lenneth, not the 3-star Lenneth, a very powerful and potent character. Is she number 1? Is she number 2? Let's compare her to Myra, a very popular choice for a lot of endgame players here when they go into the healing category. Now, why is this? What separates Myra and Warrior of Light Lenneth from the other 2 characters? So unlike Warrior of Light Lenneth, who has triple cast white magic, Myra has the ability to dual cast not most of her skills, but the entirety of her kit. So whereas Warrior of Light Lenneth had a few skills that she could not dual cast, such as Entrust Plus or Pure Healing or Genuine Generosity, Myra has the ability to dual cast her entire kit. Myra's cooldown skills are very powerful and very potent. Her healing multipliers are a lot lower than Lenneth's though, and so she becomes a little bit more gear intensive than Warrior of Light Lenneth. So while Lenneth's very less gear intensive and very hospitable to new players, Myra's going to want a little bit of extra gear to take her to that next level, but once you can do that, she becomes an absolute machine, and her healing multiplier lacking doesn't really matter all that much. So let's take a go ahead and look at this right here. So we have her first skill, Hit Single, very small mod in comparison to something like Kiraja. It's nearly half the multiplier. It's 1800 HP with a 9 times healing mod, but it does have a very powerful and potent regen effect, which is 2600 HP with a 10 times healing mod split over 3 turns. You're going to notice this a lot with Myra. Her straight up healing is a little bit lower than usual, but she has very powerful regen skills. She also has the ability to not only have access to Entrust, but like I said before, Entrust is part of her dual castable kit, which is very powerful. It's actually called 4U, which increases her own limit burst gauge by 200% limit burst gauge fill rate for 5 turns as she entrusts as well. So not only is she going to be able to fire off someone else's limit burst by entrusting them, it's going to make her easier to fill up her limit burst again to either entrust or use her limit burst. Now, the other thing that separates Myra and Warrior of Light Lenneth is Warrior of Light Lenneth has access to every single status immunity in the game: attack, defense, magic, and spirit break resist as well, whereas Myra only has access to album cover, which is sleep, paralyze, confusion, and petrify immunity, as well as attack, defense, magic, and spirit break and charm immunity. You're going to need to find some other sources of stop immunity in the other lacking status elements if you want to use a party composition that has a full ribbon effect. Now, these are some of the most potent and powerful things in the game: sleep, paralysis, confusion, and petrify. Those are the 4 things that will stop access to your character, especially confusion and petrify. So she does stop those things, as well as charm. The only thing she's really lacking is some sort of AoE stop immunity. You're going to need to find something else if you want to use Myra and you're going into a fight where there is some AoE stop or single target stop that you're worrying about. Luckily, there's some options for you guys out there with Lakshmi, as well as the ever popular Myra and Sylvie combo. But on top of that, though, the other thing that separates Warrior of Light Lenneth and Myra is Myra actually has some full stat buffs that she can cast. Now, there are some incredibly powerful AoE stat buffs out there, right? 180%, 200%. Myra has the song combos as we know them. If you've used Myra, you've seen them: intro, interlude, main verse, outro. So she starts with intro, 100% all stat buff with a heal attached to it, as well as unlocking interlude and increasing limit burst gauge fill rate by 100% for 4 turns to all allies. As we go through the combo here, interlude becomes 120% all stat buff, as well as curing all status elements with an additional heal associated with it. More limit burst gauge crystal generation unlocks main verse. Main verse is 160% for 1 turn to all allies, with a heal associated with it, which with 4 limit burst gauge crystals to all allies, and then unlocks outro. Outro gives 2000 HP barrier for 4 turns to all allies, 140% all stat buff for 4 turns to all allies, 120 MP recovery, as well as a heal associated with it. It increases the limit burst gauge of 20 crystals to the caster. You can do a lot of cool things with intro, interlude, main verse, and outro. She also has one other thing that separates her from Lenneth. If you've noticed so far, a lot of her kit is about limit burst generation. We talked about how OP Entrust can be when you have a lot of characters who have very powerful limit burst skills. That is the one thing that Myra does very, 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 very well, is the limit burst generation. She has passive limit burst generation with Myra's Legacy. You're gonna get 1 limit burst crystal per that. Pretty much every song she does, a lot of her actions have 2 to 4 limit burst crystal generation from there. She has access to dual cast and trust, which makes it very easy for her to not only fill up someone else's limit burst gauge crystals with her songs and her own with her songs, but kind of meet someone halfway. Fill up someone's limit burst gauge by 50%, fill up your own limit burst gauge by 50%, and trust that person so it goes from 50 to 100%. use outro, get 50% of your limit burst gauge back. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with Myra in limit burst gauge, and a lot of people abuse that stuff. And you can see, if you've ever watched anyone play FFBE, there's a Myra on their team with limit burst high tide gear and some limit burst generation. They nearly always have limit bursts up on their party at all times due to the high tide, 200% high tide for herself, 100%, 150% buffs to the entire party, limit burst generation on all of her songs, all of that good stuff. She also has Reflection, which is dual castable. Not really that big of a deal. There has been niche circumstances where that is a thing that you can do, but Lenneth can also copycat this strategy if you need to with something like Carbuncle equipped, so not that big of a deal there. She does have Fighting for some Bolting Strike chaining frames. If you want to use a chain finisher in your party, she can Bolting Strike and she can dual cast Fighting. It also has a 1000 HP barrier that she could pretty much use whenever she wants to. Does negligible amounts of damage. You're going to want to Spark chain this so you get that nice chain finish bonus. The other thing that Myra does do incredibly well is sort of like Folka. She's an insane limit burst generation battery, and it's not because of Audition, it's because of her limit burst. Now what separates Folka from Myra is Folka could do it on demand, fire off those limit burst generating Esper eating crystals, just eat up your limit burst gauge, 180 MP generation to your entire party, 360 if you dual cast it. But Hidden Track is Myra's limit burst, and this does so many things that separates her from a lot of the pack. So it removes not only all status ailments from the party, not only status ailments, it removes all debuffs from all allies. So imperils, etc., those are all gone. Stop and Charm and Berserk, gone. Everything gone. A reset button for status ailments in Stop and Charm. This is. It also gives you an incredibly powerful, incredibly potent HP and MP regeneration over time. This can fully heal up most of your units, except for maybe like a tank with like 25,000 HP. This can heal for an incredible amount, especially if you have a strong spirit buff on Myra. This is going to heal your HP and MP. We're talking 200, 300 MP per turn just from this regen effect. We're talking 15,000 HP or so per turn from the HP regeneration effect. It's also going to make your team immune to attack, defense, magic, spirit break, and charm for 3 turns as well. So an incredibly powerful and potent limit burst there. As far as white magic goes, she does have access to Dispelga and Kiraja and Re-Raise, as well as the spells that remove attack, magic, defense, and spirit break. But she has so many better skills. Most of the time, you're not even going to be casting magic with Myra due to the fact that she has access to skills that copy these effects and so much more. So Lenneth did have triple cast white magic. Myra only has dual cast white magic. Lenneth does have dual cast skills. Myra has dual cast skills too, but a lot of the Myra's skills are very, very powerful. And there's one oppressive combo that a lot of people can abuse and do abuse to get back into fights when something goes wrong. It also is something very powerful and very potent with Myra, and that is the combination of using playlists for dual cast, using Save Me to AoE revive their entire party, and then following it up with Live Concert that gives a 2000 HP barrier to your entire party and gives your whole team auto revive. I've seen it several times. I've done it personally myself. Something goes wrong, 4 people die, maybe just Myra's alive and like maybe one of my tankier supports. I do this, I revive my entire party, I use Live Concert, and then my support puts up some sort of damage mitigation, and we can somehow make it through the next turn due to the fact that we have this big HP barrier. If someone goes down through that HP barrier from the full life revive, then they come back with auto re-raise and we can make it through the fight. It is a good way to go ahead and reset a fight, being able to revive your entire party and then put re-raise on your entire party right after they get back up and give them an HP shield. She also has access to defense and spirit break if you're looking for some one-shot potential, as long as you have access to fire and light damage as well. She's going to have a fire and light imperil for you on top of that. Just like Lenneth, she does have access to 30% damage mitigation. That is a 100% uptime. It's a 3-turn cooldown, but the buff does last 3 turns. So 30% general damage mitigation they both have access to. So who is going to be better? who is the best healer in the game. If you are a new player with little gear and you're just starting out and you had to pick between Warrior of Light Lenneth and Myra, I would tell you to actually go for Warrior of Light Lenneth due to the insane throughput of healing that she has access to. Insanely powerful with the triple cast white magic, insanely powerful limit burst if you're going to need to auto revive, spam over and over and over with her limit burst, heal your party 79% HP, cure all their breaks, and put auto revive. She has access to that as well. She does have access to Entrust, although it's not as abusable as Myra's is, and she does have an incredibly powerful kit with general damage mitigation. Now, if you've been in the game for a while, I definitely tip my hat to Myra. I do believe for veteran players or someone who's been in the game for a while and has a little bit of gear, if you can hit a couple, 1,000 and something spirit, and the most importantly, get a bunch of high tide equipment for your Myra, then Myra is going to be the most abusable, best healer for you for a lot of team compositions. It's going to depend entirely on what sort of team comp. If you have a team comp where you don't care about limit burst necessarily, then there's no real reason for you to have Myra on the team. That's one of the best reasons that she's there, but she can do buffs for you. Buffs are very strong. I know there's a lot of powerful 180, 200% buffers out there. Buffs are good. A lot of the best damage dealers that we have access to nowadays already give a 200 to 250% attack buff anyhow. And as far as mitigating damage goes, defense and spirit buffs are nice. You do want them, but the differences between having, a 140% spirit buff and a 180% spirit buff or defense buff aren't that big of a deal. Myra can take care of that for you, and you can maybe use her as your healer and buffer to fit different characters that maybe you need a breaker in your team, or a second chainer, or a second tank, or something of that nature in your party, and Myra can do those buffs for you. You're going to always have minimum 100% buffs because intro is a buff and a heal at the same time. You can do intro interlude to get a nice heal and a heal over time effect with your buffs up, and start that high tide rampage for your party there. So that's going to be the TLDR for you guys today. If you are a veteran player and you have not messed around with Myra at all, I definitely implore you to go ahead, try her out, test her out in the right party. She's absolutely abusable to the point where the game will not feel like the same game anymore if you've built a team comp around Myra. If you are new to the game, like I said, Warrior of Light Lenneth is probably going to be your go-to character. Although if you're planning for the future, you can definitely get through stuff with Myra. It just won't be as easy as having access to triple cast white magic to double cure Raja, right? You have no gear, you're going to need that extra throughput. But if you can get in through there, you want to plan on building a limit burst gauge generation team, spam out very supportive limit burst over and over and over, such as Myra, such as Sylvie, such as CG Charlotte's, or Galoof's, or anyone of that nature. Spam those LBs out. Myra is going to be your endgame go-to ticket. Now, we are going to have a new healer coming out pretty soon with Dr. Aiden, so don't miss that banner review for Monday. Right now, Myra's insane. Dr. Aiden looks like he's going to have some unique aspects to him as well, where you can kind of semi-tank for you. We'll see exactly how that works out, but limit bursts are just so abusable that I would be surprised, actually, if Myra gets taken out of my #1 healer spot. So if you want to see more stuff like this, guys, go ahead, hit that subscription button, notification bell, ring a ding ding, turn it on so YouTube does know that you're interested in this channel. Make sure you comment down below. I do want to hear from you guys. What healers have you been using? Have you been balancing back and forth between a couple? Did this help you out at all? We'll be down there in the comment section hashing it out as always, guys. Until then, guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.